Luck is a lie. Every broke person you know believes that wealth is random, that the rich got lucky, that they were born into it, that some cosmic coin flip landed in their favor and not yours. That is the most expensive lie you will ever believe. Because while you wait for luck, the people who understand how wealth actually works are building empire. Here is the truth. Wealth is not an event. It is not a lottery ticket. It is not a lucky stock pick or a viral moment. Wealth is a system, a set of principles that, when applied with discipline over time, produce results that look like luck to everyone on the outside. But on the inside, it is pure engineering. Warren Buffett did not wake up a billionaire. He bought his first stock at 11 years old and spent the next 70 years mastering a system. Naval Ravikant did not stumble into wealth. He studied the mechanics of leverage, specific knowledge, and compounding until he could articulate them better than anyone alive. These men are not lucky, they are literate in the language of wealth that most people never bother to learn. Today, you learn that language. I am going to give you 4 principles that separate the people who build wealth from the people who wish for it. These are not theories, these are blueprints, and by the end of this video, you will have a system you can start building this week. Before we begin, I am not a licensed financial advisor. This is educational content based on principles used by some of the most successful wealth builders in history. Always do your own research. Consult a professional before making financial decisions. Now, let us begin. Principle number 1. Specific knowledge. Most people trade generic labor for money. They do a job that 10,000 other people could do. They are replaceable. And replaceable people do not build wealth. They build paychecks, and paychecks have a ceiling. Specific knowledge is different. It is the kind of knowledge that cannot be trained in a classroom. It cannot be mass-produced. It cannot be outsourced to someone cheaper. Specific knowledge lives at the intersection of your natural talents, your obsessive interests, and what the market will pay for. Let me give you an example. There are millions of people who can write code. That is a skill, but there are very few people who understand both software engineering and financial markets deeply enough to build algorithmic trading systems. That combination, that intersection, is specific knowledge, and it commands a premium that generic coding never will. Here's another one. There are millions of salespeople, but someone who understands sales, human psychology, and a specific technical industry like medical devices or enterprise software can earn $500,000 or more, not because they're lucky, because their knowledge stack is nearly impossible to replicate. So, how do you find your specific knowledge? Ask yourself 3 questions. 1. What do you find yourself doing on a Saturday afternoon when nobody is watching and nobody is paying you? That is a signal. 2. What topics can you talk about for 3 hours without getting bored? That is a signal. 3. What do people consistently come to you for help with? Not because you have a title, because you have a reputation. That is a signal. Your specific knowledge is not something you choose like a major in college. It is something you discover by paying attention to what already pulls you. And once you find it, you do not dabble, you go deep. Because depth creates scarcity, and scarcity creates value, and value creates wealth. The first principle of getting rich without getting lucky. Master something the market needs that almost nobody else can do. Principle number 2. Leverage. Here's a question that will change how you think about money forever. Why does a doctor who works 80 hours a week earn $300,000, while an investor who works 10 hours a week earns $30 million? The answer is not intelligence, it is not effort, it is leverage. The doctor is selling hours. 1 hour of work produces 1 hour of value. There is a hard ceiling. The investor is using leverage. One decision moves millions of dollars. 1 hour of work can produce 1,000 hours of output. There is no ceiling. There are 3 types of leverage available to you. Type 1, labor. Other people working for you. This is the oldest form of leverage. You build a team, you lead, every person multiplies your output. But labor is expensive, and managing people is a skill in itself. Type 2, capital. Money working for you. Every dollar you invest is a tiny employee that works 24 hours a day and never asks for a raise. At 10% average returns, your capital doubles every 7.2 years. 100,000 becomes 200,000, becomes 400,000, becomes 800,000. This is not magic. This is mathematics.
Type 3, and this is the one that has changed everything in the last 20 years. Code and media. Software you write once that serves millions. Content you create once that reaches people while you sleep. A YouTube video, an app, a digital product, an algorithm. Code and media are the most democratic forms of leverage in human history. They require no one's permission. They cost almost nothing to deploy, and they scale without limit. A plumber can fix one sink at a time, but a plumber who creates a YouTube channel teaching plumbing reaches 1 million people with the same knowledge, same skill, infinite leverage. Now, combine leverage with the force of compounding. Albert Einstein is often credited with calling compound interest the eighth wonder of the world. Whether he said it or not, the math is undeniable. A study by J.P. Morgan found that missing just the 10 best days in the stock market over a 20-year period cuts your returns in half. Not by 10%, in half. Compounding rewards those who start and those who stay. It punishes those who wait and those who quit. So, here is your action step. If you have zero leverage today, start with code or media. Open a channel, start a newsletter, build something that scales beyond your hours. Do it this week, not perfectly, just start. Principle number 3, build systems, not goals. A goal says, I want to have $1 million. A system says, I invest $500 every month into an index fund. I build one digital asset per quarter, and I increase my income by 15% every year. The goal is a destination, the system is the vehicle, and nobody ever arrived anywhere by staring at a map. You arrive by driving. Most people who fail at building wealth do not fail because they set the wrong goal. They fail because they have no system. They rely on motivation, and motivation is a terrible fuel source. It burns hot and fast, then disappears. Systems run on structure. Structure doesn't need motivation. It runs on automation and habit. Here's what a wealth-building system looks like. First, your income hits your account. Before you touch it, 20% is automatically transferred to investment. This is not optional. This is the system. Pay your future self first, non-negotiable. Second, your investments go into low-cost index funds inside tax-advantaged accounts. You do not pick stocks. You do not time the market. You buy the entire economy and let compounding do the work. Third, parallel to your investments, you're building at least one asset that generates income independent of your time. A business, a product, content. Something that earns whether you're working or not. Fourth, every 90 days you audit the system. What's working? What's leaking money? What can be optimized? You treat your financial life like an engineer treats a machine, not with emotion, with data. A study from the National Bureau of Economic Research found that individuals who automate their savings accumulate nearly 2 times more wealth over 10 years than those who save manually. Same income, same intention, different system, radically different outcome. Do not set goals. Build machines, then let the machines build your life. Principle number 4, play the long game. Here's a number that should rewrite your entire strategy. 97% of Warren Buffett's net worth was earned after his 65th birthday. He's been investing since he was 11, but the real wealth didn't show up for over 50 years. That's compounding. It's invisible for years, it's modest for a decade, and then it becomes unstoppable. Most people quit in year 2. They invest for 12 months, see modest returns, and decide it's not working. They jump to the next thing, then the next, then the next, and 10 years later they have nothing because they never let any single system run long enough to compound. The wealthy think in decades, not quarters. They make decisions today that will not pay off for 10 or 20 years, and they're comfortable with that.